Good morning. As we continue to look in Genesis chapter 41, Pharaoh has now made Joseph second in command of all the land. And when he left the presence of Pharaoh, the Bible says in Genesis 41 and verse 46, he inspected the entire land of Egypt. So he started preparing, and I believe fully with my heart, because he has been obedient to God, God has made him very wise. He's given him great insight into what he needs to do to complete God's plan and to stay second in command and to fulfill the purpose that God has put him in. So, as predicted, it tells us, starting in verse 47, that the land produced bumper crops for 7 years. And Joseph stored these bumper crops. And it says that, here in verse 49, it says, he piled up huge amounts of grain like sand on the seashore. Finally, he stopped keeping records because there was too much to measure. The blessing of God upon Joseph, his leadership, and his obedience to God. You see the blessings just pile up as he has taken charge. Joseph knew it was God, and in verse 52, he says, God has made me fruitful in this land of my grief. Although he had been through very hard times, lost his family, been put in prison, he knew that God had blessed him, even in his time of grief. It goes on to tell us in verse 54 that after the 7 years of good, then the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had predicted. The famine also struck all the surrounding countries, but throughout Egypt there was plenty of food. So God is preparing for the future of Egypt, of Joseph, and preparing the time of restoration to his family as God had planned, as he is using Joseph to complete his purposes. So even in times of grief, we can recognize that God can bless us. And God has shown us through the life of Joseph, who remained obedient to God. God bless you. Have a great day.